Hello everyone. Now we have our first question here, which is in the topic of trigonometry. It wants us to solve the trigonometry. Now let me copy the question first. Then what we're going to do is we need to bring not everything to one side, just all those, we want to leave the trigonometry to be alone on the left side. Okay, so in this case I'll have to bring my 1 to the right side. All right, and that's going to give me a -1. Then I'm going to bring my root 2 to the other side, and I'll be left with -1 over root 2. Okay, now before I start moving the sign to the other side, we need to take into account of the domain that was given in the question, right? So by writing the domain down, we have -180 to +180. Okay, now let's look at the values inside of the trigonometry, in this case inside of sine. We have x plus 50, so we need to change the domain into x plus 50 as well. Now adding everything here by 50, your -180 will become -130. X plus 50 is just x plus 50, and then 180 plus 50 is going to be 180 plus 50. Okay, oops, 230. Yeah, now I'm going to write down the quadrants of A, S, T, C, right? So this is the positive region. Let's put a negative region as well. We have A, S, T, C. Okay, now in the positive region we have theta. We have 180 minus theta. We have 180 plus theta, and then 360 minus theta. Okay, and since we are going for sine and it's a negative, we'll be taking T and C. And since in the positive region the limit is up until 230 and the line here is 270, so C will not be definitely inside of the quadrant. Okay, and then in the negative side we have negative theta here, negative bracket 180 minus theta, then -180 plus theta, and finally we have -360 minus theta. Okay, now looking at the range here, we have the negative side, it's from 0 to -130, so we won't be taking A and S, right? Okay, and since it's negative and we're dealing with sine, we'll be taking both T and C. Okay, so now we can start moving the sine to the other side. We'll get x plus 50 equals to inverse of sine, bracket. Now I'll take the positive value, right? Because in sine it doesn't have much effect, but in cos, if you take the cos, it'll give you the answer for the negative value instead. So by taking a positive, you'll get the theta, not 180 minus theta. This will prevent any mistakes moving further into the question. Now when I'm substituted the values of theta, I get my theta to be equals to 45 degrees. Yeah, so now I can start finding the list of the values, all these angles that we're trying to find. So we have equals to, now 45, that's going to be 180 plus 45, that's 225, right? So our objective here is just listing down all the possible values that we can have. Then -45, and then 180 minus 45 times -1, you get -135. Now let's go through all of these angles together just to make sure they are all within the range. 225 is inside the range, it's less than 230. -45 is definitely inside the range, it's very small. -135 is outside the range, so it should be more than -130, but -135 is less than 130, so we will not take this value. Okay, now we've done listing all of these values together. Now we can move the the positive 50 to the right hand side, which becomes -50, so that's 175 degrees. And also -95 degrees. Okay, so let me finalize this. -95 and 175. Okay.